Boom. Ooh, we're live streaming on Facebook. It's my favorite.
Awesome. Just want to make sure that we're up here because I see a progress bar going.
I think when that pops up on Zoom, like I think we are live. Seems
Yeah.
like for me, what happens is it'll be like a 20-second lag. So whatever we're saying right now will be pop up a little bit later. So it's a great
Awesome.
way to say really embarrassing things when you're on camera, or like to get caught when you're like, I'm just trying to get in the
Where you
groove right
think you're off
now.
camera? Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Okay. So yeah, we are now live in the Sugar-Free January Facebook group. For those of you guys that have not met Nate or haven't really clicked on his profile since I've been talking about him, he has been my personal trainer in the past. He is very smart when it comes to different ways that different nutrition affects our body. He's great on science as far as that goes. He is also hosting his own 5-day sugar detox, which I shared the file in here, which he was so graciously gave us to go through. So we're now on day 4 for most people. If you started on Monday versus, Saturday, I guess technically January 1st, which is the day of fasting, which I am currently doing. So I'm now a lot of hours into the fast. I think 24 hours will be here in about 5 hours. So what is that? 19 hours into the fast. Feeling pretty good. Been drinking lots of water since we started. Thinking about food still because I know food is definitely one of my favorite things that I go to. But happy to have you here, Nate. I think, like I said, I would love to get started and just talking about the benefits of fasting, kind of how your body changes through it. Maybe talk about sugar, kind of just take it away from there and let us know some of the notes you've been giving your group for the 5-day sugar detox.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude. I'm so pumped that you're doing this though. Getting into that day 4 fast, I think is incredible. And there's a lot of reasons. I know we've heard about intermittent fasting, right? That 16 and 8 is kind of like the popular one people talk about. But I think the 24-hour fast is great. And I think it's honestly more beneficial than the 16-hour fast. From a scientific, from like a physiological standpoint, they say that a 24-hour fast is basically worth 3.5 16-hour fasts. So you get the benefit of like almost 4 days of doing that, which is great. That's like from an autophagy standpoint. An autophagy is just a fancy word that means your body is like cleansing itself. So that's a fun thing. Your body will actually naturally detox itself. You don't need to go buy like a waist trainer or fit to on
$100
Instagram. You
cleanse.
just
Yeah.
you just do it yourself. It's great. Your body's super smart and it likes you a lot. So, but like what we were talking about kind of before we jumped on is that even though you're doing sugar-free January, you were still feeling a little bit of like those cravings and you were like reaching for something salty, something a little bit more flavorful. And I think there's a couple things that can kind of play into that. And I don't know if anyone else in the group is experiencing that, where you're like, oh, but I'm still having some sort of like snacky kind of cravings, especially like right after a meal or in between meals. And I think that can be indicative of 2 things. Number one, it's like habit, right? We're just kind of in the habit of reaching for something or of grabbing something. And this can be exacerbated by the gut bacteria that we have. So we have like some good healthy gut bacteria. We have some non as healthy gut bacteria that is fed by sugar. And the craziest thing about that is that when you eat sugar, and sometimes even like you're eating like crackers or something that breaks down into sugar, like a simple processed carbohydrate will do that as well. It'll feed that gut bacteria. And as that gut bacteria grows, what it wants is more sugar. And it's insane. It has a direct line to your brain where it'll tell your brain, hey, we need some more sugar to keep feeding the beast. And your body will release a hormone called ghrelin, which is like the hunger hormone. So like, man, like I just ate breakfast? Like, why am I hungry right now? Like I just had lunch. Like what's going on right now? And that's just your body working against you because you have not flipped the right switches or pulled the right levers in that way. So I love what you're doing right now with the 24-hour fast, because that's an amazing way to kind of just cut it off, just like go completely cold turkey. And it's going to do a couple things. From like, you got the autophagy thing is breaking down old cells, pulling them out, but you're also going to allow your stomach to kind of shrink back to its normal size. Most people, their stomachs are like 50 to 70% more expanded than they need to be, just because we're used to eating big meals. And if that's our norm, then our stomach is just going to kind of stay in that stretch position. But giving ourselves an opportunity for the 24 or 48-hour fast to let that shrink back and just kind of restore factory settings in a way can be very beneficial for just like the amount of food you need to eat. You'll see like you can see like even like a 20% decrease in like how much food you need to eat in order to stay hungry or stay full. Then on top of that, you also get the effect of like basically like just choke slamming your sugar out, like that gut bacteria that's feeding on that, because it's just not feeding it for 24 hours. You're going 100% completely cold turkey. So like all those things, I think is fantastic. But then, like you said, you're still thinking about food, right? So there's this mental aspect and mindfulness aspect of a fast where it puts you in a position where you can be like, wow, I'm thinking about food all day long. Well, I can't believe when I walk past the pantry, my natural inclination is to open it. I'm looking in the fridge, even though I know I'm not eating. And you start seeing these patterns and these habits emerge that you wouldn't even have noticed had you not brought the awareness, that spotlight to this aspect of yourself. So I think from a mindset piece, as well as like a patting yourself on the back, doing something esteemable by being like, I'm going 24 hours without food, and then executing and doing it, incredible. Just across the board, that's just, there's not much you can do better for your health than a 24 to 48 hour fast.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going through that, and I like that of I need to pay attention to when these different cravings happen. When I'm on a work call, and as soon as I jump off, typically 11:30 is my lunchtime. So I'm so used to just going out and even just grabbing a snack before. Actually, I typically eat around noon. So at 11, there's times that I'm hungry after breakfast, and I go and want to go grab like a thing of string cheese or something just small to hold me over until lunch. And I feel myself doing that even today, knowing I have to keep catching myself because it is so easy, especially working from home now, to just go to the refrigerator and grab what's ever in there. So I do think that is something that I need to pay closer attention to. Like, there's a reason why you're doing this, or hey, you do this so mindlessly, subconsciously, and this could potentially cause issues, down the road, or it's just leading to it's making it more difficult for fat loss and things like that.
Totally. Yeah. And like most of us, we don't need as many calories as we eat on a regular basis. So it's a good way to kind of like have an insurance policy against, if you do go out and have too much, or go out to eat with the family, or have a couple of drinks here or there, so even if you're not in a fat loss phase, it's a great way to maintain that weight and bring that mindfulness. So I like what you said about that. And also kind of the paying attention to the signals your body sends you. I think that there's two main signals that you can kind of pay attention to and make sure that you're understanding them for what they are. So number one is hunger signals. What is that? Is that boredom? Is it habit? Is that sugar requesting it? Or are you legit hungry because you didn't eat enough food for breakfast? And any of those could be true, but it takes paying attention to them and then testing them out. So like if you have that and you're like, I drank a glass of water, I'm still hungry. Okay, you probably are hungry. You probably need some food. That's great. But next time we'll just expand your breakfast a little bit, expand your lunch a bit more. So, or if you have a glass of water and then you're on to the next thing, you're like, oh, I wasn't even hungry at all. Well, that's probably a habit or a sugar thing. So we need to pay attention to those. The second piece that your body is always just telling you, it's your energy level throughout the day. Do you wake up crushed? Are you are you dying when you get out of bed in the morning? That's a reflection of what you ate yesterday. That's a reflection of your habits and stuff yesterday. So what's going on with that? Are you feeling like you're getting really tired and sleepy at 10:30 in the morning, at 3:30 in the afternoon? That's a reflection of your breakfast and lunches. So what are you eating, and how is it impacting your body, your energy levels, your blood sugar levels, all these things. So when we can start actually taking that information in and not being like, oh, I'm tired, this sucks, but being like, wow, I'm tired. That's fascinating. I wonder what's causing that. And we start kind of thinking about it in a more like curious way, it starts putting us in the driver's seat of how our body works. And this is such a non-sexy way to talk about this, John, because most people are just like, how do I get the abs, bro? What about the biceps? But when you put yourself in the driver's seat, you can now manipulate your body in however you want to, because if the energy and the hunger signals are all like on point, you can do whatever you want to. You can have unlimited energy. You can burn fat at will. You can do all sorts of these things, but it just takes a bit of a mindset shift to wrap your head around that. I think fasting can really help you get into that headspace.
Yeah, and like what I'm hearing here too is, I know my dad, for instance, he always talks about his biggest downfall when it comes to diet is late night snacking. So obviously it's probably his dinner, or I guess his lunch. From what you said, his lunch might be leading to that late night snacking. And obviously January is a very famous month for people to set these big fitness goals and all of that. And sometimes they hit the gym really hard, but don't focus so much on the diet, or they focus on the diet hard. And it's, first of all, to me, it's exhausting when you go from not having a diet to try to have the super strict diet. And you've talked about that before. It's very difficult to go back and forth. But now it's like, okay, so I don't have energy to go to the gym because I've gone so strict on my diet. So yeah, I'm not going to the gym and not doing these things. Or I'm pushing so hard at the gym and like I pick too difficult of a diet to follow, so then I give up on the diet. And so I think I'm learning a lot about the way that my body reacts to things. And actually, the funny thing is, right now, going again 19, almost 20 hours now without anything, like I actually have good energy right now, which is interesting, right? Because I know there have been times, and it's probably again when I have a lot of ups and downs with foods, that when I get hungry, like I get very tired at times, right? Like that is probably more of a sugar crash when I'm so dependent on that sugar, which luckily now I'm 6 days in with very low sugar, so I'm not as dependent on that. But I think figuring that out will help both on the fitness end and obviously the diet end of understanding this isn't just a let me follow these 5 check boxes every day to, to get 6-pack abs. It's this is the way my body changes or is affected based on what I'm putting in, and how my energy is affected based on what I'm putting in.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And so for some people, though, you need those 5 check boxes to start the process. Like you said, you don't need to jump into something where you're having meal prep and working out for 90 minutes every single day. That's probably counterintuitive, a couple of ways, because like you said, it's gonna beat you down mentally. And then also, like, what do you add in after that? You cut your calories to 1,200, and you like there's nowhere else to go. So start off nice and slow. Do the 30-day sugar-free January challenge. That's an amazing thing to do, even if you're not working out, even if you're not doing supplements or anything else. Just doing this challenge is an amazing start to the year. I also love what you said about like having gone sugar-free for the last 6 days and then not necessarily having that lull from like your body being like, what about the sugar though? So you've obviously put yourself in a position where you've given yourself correct vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients that you're not going to be like, your body's not like craving something and then being like, you know what I want is 6 blueberries, but you're like, how about an apple fritter? Yeah. And you eat that and you're like, wow, why do I feel so bad right now?
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to say was about the late night snacking. Now, like that is the one area that I feel like is for most people more habitual than necessarily like contingent upon their meals. Because a lot of people eat a big meal, even if it has like some vegetables, some good carbs, some like good proteins in it, but they sit down to watch Netflix, and their habit is I check the fridge. Their habit is I grab a thing of popcorn. And I think a lot of times that can play into it. They did a study where they put out a cookie in the kitchen, and I just like let it sit there. And so in the morning, there was like no chance people were going to have this like morning afternoon when we were early in the day, when we have a lot of our decision-making ability left. But at night, it's an 86% higher chance that we're going to be eating that cookie, because we've been making decisions. We've been using our willpower. We've been focused on motivation all day. And then that cookie's just still sitting there. So I think one of the better things you can do for that PM thing is just get that shit out of the house. Like if you don't have it, you can't eat it. And like, yeah. I love fitness. I've been in this for a long time, but like, I don't have great willpower either. Like the other day I ate like a full loaf of raisin bread toast at night. I don't need a full loaf. There's no reason for that at all. The next morning, my daughter's like, what about my snack for preschool? And I was like, oops, I guess everyone's getting Big Macs today, honey. I don't know. So it's if you have it in the house, it's really hard to avoid it if that's the habit. So I think that can be something that's cathartic, is just throwing that shit in the garbage.
And I think prep work with that too. I know, pre-slicing some peppers or something like, so if you do want that snack, have that pre-set up for yourself, because I know at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, the last thing I'm going to do is clean off a pepper, cut it up, all of that. It's, hey, these come right out of a box. Like we mentioned earlier, the Cheez-Its, like those are definitely coming out of the box. Those are a lot easier to get than preparing veggies or, a fruit snack.
100% agree. Yeah. Make it easy for yourself. Like think about, well, like what future John wants, what future Nate is going to like, if you're like, listen, I know myself, and 9 o'clock comes around, I'm not cutting an apple up. Cut it for yourself in the future and be like, hey, I did this for you. I love you. You slide that in the fridge, little love note for yourself.
We always wake up with higher intentions than we do, when we go into bed. And I know same thing when you start a week off, it's like, yeah, I'm going to knock all these out this week. And then work happens. Like you said, we make all these heavy decisions. And then by the time gym time rolls around 5, 6 o'clock at night, you just have 100 excuses as to why.
Yeah. When you're busy, man, you got kids, you got all these things vying for your attention. Your day is not your own after like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. You're like on other people's schedules. You're doing other things. You're following up. You got to take the kids here, do this, that, and the other thing. Like you have to nail these things early, because that decision fatigue, that fugue state is a real thing. And if you're just relying on like willpower and motivation to like grit through it, you might be successful for a week, maybe even a month, but like at the end of the day, it's not going to be sustainable. You got to figure out the patterns that work. And I think, again, like I'm like the least sexy fitness guy on the planet, because I'm like, hey, you know what you need to do? Drink more water, go for walks, but also get bored. If you can get bored in your fitness, if you can get bored with your workouts, get bored with your breakfast, get bored with your lunch, you're winning. You're doing something at a high level that not many people do because they think, oh, I got to mix it up. Muscle confusion. Biggest lie that's ever been fed to the fitness industry. So if you can get bored to the point where you don't even have to think about what you're eating for breakfast, you don't have to think about what you're wearing in the morning, you don't have to think about what your workouts are like because they're already on your phone ready to go, you're doing it, you're winning.
Yeah, less decisions to make so you can make those better decisions later. I like that. So as far as fasting, this is obviously in that 5-day sugar detox, but as far as like prepping, both mentally and I guess physically or nutritionally, before we started the fast, like with the healing salad and ending it, obviously, when you're hungry, again, very hard to make good decisions at the end of a fast, right? Like I'm thinking Five Guys at the end of this, but I've got everything prepped for my salad after this. Can kind of go into that and make it a little bit easier for people to accomplish that 24 to 36-hour fast.
I think that having basically the same meal on both sides of the fast is really beneficial. You want something with a lot of vitamins and minerals. I think that we talk a lot about like clean foods versus dirty foods. We don't say the word that I really like when it comes to nutrition, which is nutritious foods, things that actually fuel your body, that give you what you need. So the healing salad is great. It has this great combination of vitamins and minerals in it. If you don't have that, it's in the handbook. You can check that out. John will shoot it over to you if you need it. But that's a great way to start because it's going to give your body lots of vitamins and minerals. Then I always like to have a healthy carbohydrate at night, help you sleep better, help your body recover. It's part of the glycogen priming method. And then I like to have a healthy protein. Protein goes in every meal. 2022 is the year we are not eating food if it doesn't have protein in it. So get on that bandwagon. And then the same thing at the end of the fast. At the end of the fast, your body's in this great state where it's really receptive and ready to pull in nutrients. So if you go and you have Five Guys, and I have nothing wrong with Five Guys. I love Five Guys, but that's not the first thing you want to feed your body. You want to if you can break your fast with a salad, with leafy greens, with eating the rainbow, those peppers you were talking about, John, your body's ready to receive that nutrition. It loves that. And if you can give your body that gift, you're going to feel so much better. Even if a carrot sounds a lot less good than a Cinnabon, your body's gonna be feeling so clean. You'll wake up the next morning feeling really light and lean. You look in the mirror and be like, oh my gosh, is that abs? Here we go. So give yourself that gift of having those really, really nutrient dense foods to bookend your fast.
Yeah. And for me, I think, again, there's so many benefits of the 24-hour fast that technically, eating some of those less healthy foods, calorie wise, if you're only counting calories, cool. You had 1,000-calorie burger at the end of the day, still only, consumed 1,000 calories for the day. But yeah, for me, I really like to, when you do that fresh restart, it's great to just set the base with those healthy nutrients. And I know before, sometimes I at the first or second time I did this, it was I can't even wait for the chicken to get done cooking for me to do the salad. So I had some blueberries instead, right? Just slowly, just kind of dipped in, okay, here's some still fresh fruit, to kind of just slowly tell your body, hey, you're finally going to start getting some of those nutrients that you've been looking for the past 24 hours. And I try to stick to that. Just I know when people start working out, it's very hard after you get done with a good workout to come home and just push down a burger too. You're like, hey, I just went and burned 800 calories, whatever. Why would I come home and destroy it with all this fat stuff? So to me, I kind of put the 24-hour fast equivalent to a workout as far as that healthy mindset and why would I want to ruin this by jumping onto something not so healthy?
Totally. Yeah. It takes work to burn 800 calories, 1,000 calories in the gym. You are sweating. You are feeling it. You're like, whoa, something just happened to me. But it does not take that much work to drink 1,000 calories in your coffee. It is very easy.
Yeah, I love those charts out there that tell you, how many burpees. Burpees are probably the best, to me, the favorite exercise to compare things, right? One donut is 100 burpees or whatever, is wow, that is, if I could only do burpees to replace, my bad choices in food, then I would never eat a bad food choice ever again. So I think that's a good way to look at things because people don't realize sometimes what it takes. I know on a running or on a bike, you're about 10 calories a minute. But yeah, so that's 10 minutes straight of biking, 10 minutes straight on a rower, 10 minutes straight of running, just to replace a 100-calorie meal. And not too many
What's
things
100
out there.
calories?
100 calorie. Yeah.
That's two bites of a donut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anything unhealthy is many, many hundreds of calories. So realizing how long you would have to spend to burn that is it makes it a lot easier to make those decisions, I think, as long as you always have that mindset. But when you're hungry and you're tired, typically you're not comparing burpees to donut bites. You're just I want the donut.
Yeah. I don't care. This is a problem for future Nate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we've kind of covered the sugar, all the different effects that it has on it. I know that, I mean, I've read before too, Americans are just consuming way more sugar than we should. And I forget, even when you look at nutrition labels, I don't know, I think it's like 40, um, it's like 40 grams of sugar a day. Do you know what like the suggested sugar intake is?
Great question. I do not know off the top of my head.
It seems high. I know
Recommended
we're looking at
sugar
things when we
intake
start looking at nutrition
daily.
labels, it's like, wow,
No more than 100 calories per day, 24 grams of sugar is what the
24 grams.
AHA.
Okay.
So whatever that
Yeah,
means.
yeah.
I would say that like that's still a like way lower than most people are getting and way higher than most people need.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I agree. 'Cause again, I just ate things without paying attention, but now it's like, okay, most of the things that I have can have 2 or 3 grams here and there. Um, so that would be a lot of meals like that to get all the way up to that 24. Now, when you're having 12 grams a meal, then yeah, you can get there in 2 meals. But
Or if you're
now
having
that
a
you start,
48 grams in your coffee, you can get there. You
yeah,
can
yeah,
get
yeah,
2 days worth, no problem,
yeah, half and half, right?
before
You put,
breakfast.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's something that's my favorite thing about the sugar free is just being mindful of things. Again, I know I'm sure by the end of January I'm probably gonna grab a handful of M&Ms at some point, right? It's we talked earlier. It's very difficult to hold something for 30 days, but now I at least know like how. Plus, I'm gonna be able to tell the difference of how I feel now that the sugar's out, especially after this 24-hour fast. I'm really gonna be able to see the way that sugar affects my body.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fantastic what you're talking about there. Also, like, yeah, when it comes to the 30 days, like at the end of it, my recommendation is like, don't be like, well, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life because that's not reasonable. And you do want to eat peanut M&Ms at some point in the future. And you're probably
Yeah.
going to want to have some ice cream and like those things are fine. Like, I don't want to tell people those are off limits, but I want you to be cognizant of two things. Number one, am I doing this in the moment because I'm like, I feel like I need that dopamine hit. Like someone's like, hey, you want these? And you're like, sure, I'll have some. Like, cause that is not what we want to do. We want to avoid those things because those are not satisfying. It puts us in bad positions. And then sooner, like, so then you're like, you're grabbing a handful of runts and you're like, well, I don't even like runts, you're eating them. What I would rather have anybody do, and I tell my clients this all the time, you want to eat sugar, you want to have 15 White Claws, you want to do something that's a little bit off plan. Just think about it. Like, what day is that going to happen on? And then make that plan. You're like, right, we're doing pizza and ice cream on Saturday. Amazing. I love that for you. I want you to enjoy the hell out of it. And when you plan something like that, you have that delayed gratification. You get to enjoy it 2 times versus the person who just like snatches up a handful of Skittles and is like, I'm going to barely enjoy this as I walk back to my desk and in my deep, deep depression.
With my head held low. Yeah.
Yeah. So pick your time, choose your thing, and then enjoy it and eat it. And then just really, really like have a great time with it. That's what food is for. People who are like, food is just fuel. Like, have you ever been to Christmas dinner? Your grandma loves you. She feeds you lasagna for that reason, And then the second thing on that is like, when you do have that handful of M&Ms, you do have this, pay attention to how you feel next. What is your energy like? What are your cravings like? Pay attention to those two things because that's your body communicating with you. And you can be like, well, I had those handful of M&Ms and now I'm tired again. Now I'm hungry. Like now I just like want to eat a handful of white bread. What's up with that? And it's just good information for you to have long-term. So like, kind of just stay curious. Don't judge yourself, but just make those choices mindfully. And then when you do decide to have something that's maybe like off plan or considered like not a clean food, I want you to really enjoy it. So when everyone's like, he's not eating clean, you're like, yeah, and it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, enjoy those. And I know I've followed some different programs out there. The slow carb diet, you get a cheat day once a week, and he gives you permission to go all out, and then you're strict throughout the other 6 days of the week. So I think that's good. And fitness wise, you kind of prepare for it a little bit too. You might go for a run that morning, or get a little bit of exercise in that morning before the pizza and ice cream that afternoon.
Yeah, you want to put those gains into your biceps for sure. That's why gaining muscle is like the most fun thing in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Nate,
I'm doing this for me.
I appreciate your time, Nate. How can people find you? You've got the $1 Million Body group. That's, I think, there's a wealth of knowledge in there. I look in there all the time for different information. How else can they find you?
Yeah, so you can jump in the $1 Million Body community. I'm going to change the name today because why not? It's going to be called Lose Your Gut, Eat Tacos, Don't Track Calories, the $1 Million MDB project. So you can join there by going to facebook.com/groups/optimal self. Or if you want to grab a copy of my book where I talk a little bit more about like some of the tenets of this, why, like go into a little bit greater detail on the science, and then give you like a 28-day plan if you wanted to kind of take this as the next step going into January or going into February. you can go to n8trainingsystems.com/book and grab a free copy. I'll send you a PDF and a Kindle version. You can just have those. And if you want to grab a hard copy, it's on Amazon.
Yeah, I have the book. I love it. It spells everything out. Again, I like the science side of things, just to say, yes, I know French fries are bad, but this is why it's so bad for you, right? Because it does 20 bad things to your body. So I think that's really great to know. I mean, I'll share the group in the comments on here too. But again,
Cool.
Appreciate it, Nate. This fast is going great so far. Hoping that everybody on here is doing as best they can for the sugar-free January, and we'll see how people do at the end of the month.
Yeah, awesome. And then like even at the end of this week, take those progress pictures, weigh yourself again, give yourself those little benchmark reinforcements too. A win is a win. You should pat yourself on the back when you do something like this.
Yeah, definitely. I think, taking care of following those wins is key, and making sure you can see those wins, whether it be on the scale or around the waistline.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thanks again. We will talk to everybody later, and we'll see how people do at the end of the month.
Later.